Welcome to Hacking Postgres, a podcast about extensions, extension creators, and other interesting, innovative things in the world of Postgres. I'm Rai Walker, founder of Tembo, a managed Postgres company. And today I'm here with Bharath Rupireddy. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you, Ray, and I'm glad that I'm here today. And I'm always happy to talk about PostgreSQL things.
Yeah, absolutely. A quick background. Maybe give us a background. Let's start way before Postgres. Like, where did you grow up, and what were you doing before you started working on Postgres?
So I'm based out of Hyderabad, India, and I grew up in Hyderabad, and I born and brought up in Hyderabad. And before databases, I was working in automotive software development, like Robert Bosch. I was there for 3 years, and then on I moved to Teradata, and I was there for 3 years, and then I started my Postgres journey with EnterpriseDB.
Okay. When did you join EnterpriseDB?
It's 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, 2020, and
Right.
I started my upstream contributions and everything from ADB, and then stayed there for a little over 1 year, and moved to Microsoft, and again continued my PostgreSQL contributions journey from Microsoft, and stayed there for a little over a year there, and then finally I landed in AWS, and currently I'm contributing to Postgres from AWS. I'm on the AWS RDS open source team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's great. It sounds like you made those transitions pretty quickly.
Correct.
Is it really just? I'm kind of curious. Why did you move from one to the other? Was it really just the ability to work more directly on Postgres, or were there other characteristics that led you to being at Amazon?
So firstly, I love the databases stuff, and PostgreSQL got me into this world of open source, which I'm able to freely think and contribute and learn as well, and working with these database experts. And on the way, I was trying to find better opportunities, and again, which will help me contribute to the PostgreSQL open source project. So that's how I was finding ways and means to get better teams and the experts around me, because that also matters for me, because I have to learn a lot of things and grow in this PostgreSQL career. So that's where I was making moves.
That's great. Awesome.
Yeah.
So what year was it when you first started using Postgres? Do you know when that was?
It was in 2020,
Okay.
June or July, when I was started my journey with EnterpriseDB.
Yeah. All right. What were you working on first at EnterpriseDB? Like, to tell me about the first job.
My first job was to first of all learn PostgreSQL basic stuff, for which I was attending PGConf India just before the COVID lockdown that happened in Bangalore, India. So I attended that, and after that I joined my EnterpriseDB, and I started learning things, and then started my contributions with parallel copy feature, which didn't make its way into PostgreSQL. But so I had the opportunity to learn many things there back then, and it was a huge feature and having lots of benefits. But because of certain limitations, it didn't make it. But on the way, the learnings were like, for me, were like how to contribute and how the community responds to your thoughts, and how all the development stuff happens in PostgreSQL. So all the things that I learned with that so-called the parallel copy feature.
Yeah. So besides the parallel copy, what did you do? Maybe talk about, were you doing open source contributions while at Microsoft as well?
Yeah, in Microsoft, I had the great opportunity to look at customer problems and try to solve them in the open source. One of such major contribution, in my opinion, is that PG Wall Inspect. It's an extension that lets users use SQL functions to look at write-ahead log
Yeah.
in PostgreSQL. So it's a PG wall dump, but in the cloud environments, the one of the customer was asking, like, was not able to get onto the shell and use PG wall dump, and they were facing some issues. And then we had to come up with an extension way of inspecting wall. So that's
Yeah.
how the PG wall inspect came in, and it went to PG 15, and that was a contribution when I was in Microsoft. Major
Yeah.
contributions, and couple of other fixes, bug fixes or improvements. Also, I was making when I was at Microsoft, like switching wall source for a streaming, replica, right? So you
Okay.
have archive and you have primary, and then when primary goes down, you know, you go get from the archive, but oftentimes getting from the archive can be slower, and meanwhile your primary could have come up, and then the primary starts building up wall, correct? So that
Yep.
can lead to downtimes. So that was one of the problem that I was trying to crack when I was at Microsoft. Yeah, there are a couple of other features as well, bug fixes I did at
So
Microsoft.
you say trying to crack. Were you able to crack that one, or was it
It is still in progress.
still in progress? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fine. When you built the wall inspector extension, were you able to essentially just leverage the existing shell command and just sort of or at least the code from that, or did you have to? How hard was it to implement that extension?
Well, PG wall dump, basically what it does internally is it reads the wall files.
Yeah.
And Postgres has this great infrastructure called Xlog reader infrastructure. So it basically allows one to define a reader context and specify a start LSN and then read wall from it and interpret the wall records.
Yeah.
So that's all every wall reader in Postgres does, be it PG dump or be it wall senders that replication uses.
Yeah.
So the same infrastructure that I have used for the PG wall inspect. But yes, so I was trying to reuse almost the most of the possible code from PG wall dump.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That worked out pretty good.
yeah, it was kind of great learning in terms of wall and other things that I was able to put my efforts into.
Yeah, awesome. All right, and then you said how long have you been at Amazon now for? Has it been a year or not yet?
Close to 2 years now.
Oh, okay, 2 years. Okay, so what have you been building at Amazon?
Yeah, so at Amazon, again, it's a great opportunity because you get to work with, you get to solve the customer problems, and not only solving, but you can contribute back to the community, and I have a great set of team here. Um, at Amazon, my focus has been more to write-ahead logging related improvements. For example, I I contributed one of the wall insertion log scaling feature, which allows writes to go up more than 2x. It was a simple change, but resulted in great performance improvements for high write workloads, concurrent high write workloads, and that was one thing. And then my focus has moved to improving wall read infrastructure. So today, wall readers, as I said earlier, for PG wall inspect, every wall reader basically reads from the disk. So I was trying to crack that problem. Like, we have wall buffers in place in PostgreSQL, so why not read from wall buffers? So that was one problem I'm trying to crack. And the beauty of this solution is that it not only avoids the disk IOs for wall readers, but it also helps achieve some other features like improving synchronous replication performances, and allowing asynchronous standbys, getting ahead of synchronous standbys, or asynchronous logical subscribers getting ahead of synchronous standbys. So there are certain other benefits that can be achieved with this solution. And also someone can just implement a feature that allows one to replicate directly from the wall buffers to the to the streaming standbys. So
Interesting.
I'm trying to push the basic infrastructure to PG 17. Yeah, as of today, there are a couple of review comments pending. So yeah, I'm trying hard to get that in
Yeah.
by being more active on that thread. And yeah, replication related features I'm focusing on. Recently, I've submitted a patch for providing XID, transaction ID age based and inactive timeout based replication slot invalidation. And as we know, invalid replication slots can create huge problems in production systems. And max slot wall keep size may not help in all the situations. And I'm trying to provide alternative ways to for the customers to define more invalid reasons and mechanisms.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
What what's your take on will Postgres get to have a master H like I don't know what you would call it, but basically, yeah, two masters in your lifetime. No, I'm kidding. Do you feel like it's
Correct.
coming? It's coming in the next X releases, or what's your take on
I
that?
would love to see that in PostgreSQL, and as we call it, active
Yeah.
or multi-leader replication. Uh,
Yeah.
and it's to some extent it is quite possible in today in PostgreSQL version 16, because we have the replication origin filter feature that went into PG 16. And
Yeah.
of course there are many things that make this natively support in PostgreSQL using logical replication. There are many things to be done. For instance, we need to be able to replicate as many data objects as possible. For instance, DDL
Yeah.
sequences and large objects, whatnot. And then initial schema synchronization, like if you want to join a new active member to the group, so you need to have the ability to sync the schema from the node that you're joining to. So that's one more feature. And the other most important feature is the conflict resolution
Yeah.
techniques. So
And how do you like what is that this conflict? I mean, I remember conflict resolution back in like SQL Server days for me, like 20 years ago, where literally there'd be like a table of conflicts that some human would have to deal with. Is that still part of it, the process, potentially in this case, or is it? Can you automatically? Do you think you can automatically deal with pretty much everything, or is there's just going to be some that you can't?
correct. Today, what we have with PostgreSQL is to some extent the conflict detection. So
Yep.
the subscriber would detect the conflict. Let's say primary key constraint.
Yep.
You're violating a primary key on the subscriber. So your subscriber complains about it and probably errors out, saying that you are violating the constraint. And then it logs into so it provides some information, and
Yeah.
it also allows one to skip those conflicts.
Yep.
Today what we have in PostgreSQL. But
Yeah.
in real world, what we have seen is that the conflicts are very frequent, and we need a way to automatically resolve them. So when you see the primary key constraint violation, it's not only that reporting is important, but we can allow users to choose what needs to happen in such situations.
Yeah.
Like last update wins is one of you know the conflict resolution technique. Automatically the subscriber needs to um, you know solve or
Yeah.
solve the conflict, resolve the conflict.
Is
Yeah,
that the case primarily? Like if you're using an auto incrementing primary key, like you're going to get lots of conflicts because like just things could happen. So essentially at the exact same time on two servers.
correct, correct.
Resolved is that resolved somehow by using a different primary key type, or yeah, I mean, is it just or do you really say, yeah, no, let's just keep using, incrementing IDs and just, I mean, the tricky part is like, two servers tie and then a bunch of, like it could tie again if it's trying
Correct,
to,
correct, correct. So what it needs is simply to break the ties.
yeah,
And the approaches that I have seen personally, the existing extensions supporting active-active replication out there
yeah,
uh, are doing the last update when, and probably a couple of other resolution techniques. Basically, they look at the commit timestamp of the transactions that are being replayed, and when we say last update wins, so the transaction with the latest timestamps wins that, wins
yeah,
that conflict, and then that particular row gets replicated across the other members in the active group.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. So I mean, are there any situations, like any situations where anyone should use it in production at this point, Postgres 16 for master active, or are you just like, no, you just can't, just not for production usage yet? I'm thinking like if the schemas aren't changing and it's kind of low volume, it seems like it should be fairly safe. I guess maybe the better question is, I mean, do we kind of need people to be using it in production to know what to do next? But I'm kind of hearing you guys say like, no, not really. We know what we need to do next, regardless of what the users are doing, because it's just like the stuff left. But do you feel like, is that something that's coming in 17 or 18? Is there an appetite to do those advanced conflict resolution, techniques in the core?
Okay, first question, to answer your
Yeah,
first question, that whether somebody should use PostgreSQL 16's native active replication support. I honestly don't know the answer because
yeah,
we don't have the conflict resolution techniques. If they are okay to intervene and produce and resolve the conflicts manually, which I don't think anybody would want to do that, because they don't expect the data to be coming in as in the way that the developers or DBAs would expect, because we don't know that how the data comes into the system.
yeah,
So I would say no, but
yeah,
again, yeah, it's if they also say that, okay, we are um, we would ensure in our application that the conflicts will not occur by using
yeah.
global sequences or sort of things in their
All right,
application, right?
right,
Maybe possible, but I have not noticed or heard
yeah,
anybody using it in production. And to answer your second question, whether when would you see this conflict detection and I mean, the conflict resolution techniques and the replication and schema sync, initial schema sync, and all of these features with 2 months. I think we have feature freeze in 2 months, 2 or 3 months, close to, yeah, little over 2 months. I don't know.
yeah. Okay. So it says, I don't know. Now, I mean, are people working on it actively? Is anyone actually
Yes,
working on
people are
that? Yeah,
active on those threads, and
yeah,
let's hope. I'm also hopeful that those things get in.
yeah. Okay, yeah. It's all part of the process, right? Yeah. You've been contributing to Postgres now for what, 3, 4, almost 4 years.
Correct, correct.
Um, is your goal to get to be a committer at some point? Would you say, is that on your, or are you a committer already? I'm sorry, I don't. In case you
No,
are, but
no, I'm not a committer.
yeah,
I'm a contributor, and yeah, it's been 4 years, close to 4 years, that I'm contributing to PostgreSQL in
yeah,
whichever way possible for me. And yes, I'm hopeful that, and there are many things that I need to learn. I have database experts around me,
yeah.
sitting in my team and helping me out in every possible way. And also the database experts out there in the community. Uh, I'm trying to learn things, and yes, of course, the goal is to get into the upwards in this PostgreSQL open source ladder.
That's great. Yeah, I think Sabay and I were talking, and I think he did the math, and like the average takes around 7.5 years, I think, before most
Yes,
people make it. It's Yeah.
And continuously, we have to be continuously on, the contributions, open source contributions, helping others,
Yeah.
newcomers, all sorts of things, and doing almost it's not just the code contributions, and there are the reviewing part of it is very pretty much important, reviewing others features and patches and providing some thoughts around some of the topics, and yeah, there are many things.
Yeah. Are there other areas? I mean, we talked about wall and replication and stuff. Are there other areas of the project that you're interested or excited about that you expect to maybe branch into, or could you just make your,
Yeah.
just focus it on replication? That's a big enough domain,
Yeah. So as I said, so I started my journey with copy related, contributions, and something like, if anything is coming up for parallelism side of things, I'm interested in there. And with the learnings from my work from parallel copy, I try to contribute few other areas also. One such feature is new table access methods for multi inserts and single inserts. So the community wanted a way like where you can begin insert and then carry the state from begin API and then do the insert and then end your insert. So today we have multiple parameters being carried with multiple APIs. So we wanted put bundle all of those things and then just provide a neat API for the table access methods developers. And in that regard, I also not only this single insert, but I also provided an API for doing multiple inserts at a time. Like you buffer a couple of rows in the memory and then flush all of them at once to the disk. So with this new set of APIs, we could improve performance for uh, create table as and create materialized view and refresh materialized view. So these sort of things can get faster without much code duplication, as well as the APIs are so easy to use. But again, yeah.
Does that like I mean, I'm kind of familiar with like Snowflake and data warehouses that, the idea is like you really don't want to insert individual rows. You want to bulk insert. And is that sort of inspired by data warehouse or for sort of data warehouse use cases?
So the major inspiration for this work is today we have copy command doing buffering the multiple rows and inserting all of them at once, and that's the starting point for this work. So I
Yeah.
wanted all of such logic um, to go into table access methods, and for other commands to reuse all of that work, I mean that logic. And the API, new kind of these APIs were proposed at some point or mentioned in some of the discussions on hackers, PostgreSQL hackers. And then I kind of clubbed both the ideas and came up with this thing. So it did get some inputs on what needs to go in the state, and what needs to be independent of the access methods, because heap access methods can have different way of buffering, and then columnar access methods can have their own way of buffering things.
Yeah.
So these sort of inputs I got, and yeah, again, it's in the review phase.
Great.
I'm
Awesome.
hopeful somebody will pick it up.
If you had like a magic wand that you could add any feature to Postgres, what would you use the wand on?
I would use it for active replication, things to
Oh,
get in.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, it'd be great.
And I also wanted to be part of some of those features.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. What's yeah? Is there anything about Postgres that not many people agree with you about? Do you have any contrarian positions from the others, or not really?
Uh, In what sense it is?
Could be anything. Could just be about the architect. Yeah. I was just wondering, like, I'm a natural contrarian, so I always love hearing other people being contrarian or not being it because it's kind of interesting to me. Just like, just do you have some opinions that like it's hard for you to get anyone else to agree with you about, or are you pretty easy to agree with, I guess?
Uh, so for whatever the ideas or patches or features that we propose to the community, I think it's hard to get uh, plus ones, we call it.
Yeah, yeah,
Plus ones or looks good to me sort of things.
yeah,
So it's hard to get. And having said that, um, one must not lose the confidence and
yeah,
keep the faith in the community,
yeah,
because at the end we would learn many things, like my parallel copy experience says that
yeah,
I even though it hasn't moved on further, but I was able to contribute in many other ways, and for
yeah,
example, all of these contributions came from those learnings.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
that's interesting. So it's almost like, I mean, again, Postgres is pretty damn good. So any changes are going to be met with a little bit of skepticism right
correct.
off the bat, because like, why are you changing something that's pretty close to perfect? Again, not obviously we know it's not, there's always room for
Yeah,
growth, but yeah, it's an interesting project where it's, a lot of other tools or open source projects have glaring holes that are easy to, fill,
correct.
comparatively. So, yeah. Do you listen to podcasts very much out of curiosity?
And podcast, I recently started with PG Analyze 5 minutes stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
prior to that, I used to hear a lot of database internal stuff from uh, Carnegie Mellon University, uh,
Yeah.
database talks by Andy Pavlo.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, whichever the database talks or things that put in Postgres, I definitely take a look at it. And recently I started with Tembo's YouTube channel as
Oh,
well. I looked
yeah.
at Bertrand's talk and the podcast and
Yeah.
some of the other speakers'
Yeah.
podcasts.
I'm hoping that, I mean, obviously these are pretty technical conversations, but could be interesting, especially if I happen to pull someone into the community that hasn't been to a lot of events, and is whatever, for whatever reason. Have you gone to many of the Postgres events in the States, or are you doing? Are there events in India around Postgres
Yeah,
similar to?
so correct. So I've been attending PostgreSQL Conference India
Yeah,
for the past 3 times, and
yeah,
this year also I'm trying to make it. And on the other side, I was part of the founding team for Hyderabad PostgreSQL user group in India, and we were running bi-monthly meetups, F4-hour meetups, where
yeah,
people would come and talk about their Postgres experiences.
yeah.
And yeah, so I'm hosting those events as well. I'm part of the team organizing committee, and yeah, I'm hoping to travel to the like PG Conf Dev and the conferences that happen in US
Yeah.
and Europe.
Great. Well, I hope to see you at one at some point. I'm just getting to know people in the community, and yeah, that's great. Appreciate you joining us. And if are you on Twitter? Are you like, where can people find you online? Do you have any spot where you're talking?
Yes, LinkedIn and Twitter I use both of
All
them,
right.
and technical people can see me on hackers
Yeah,
list.
of course. Yes, yes. If you're brave enough, they can talk to you there, right?
Yes, yes, they can, of
Yes.
course.
Awesome. Well, it was great chatting with you. And have a good day.
Thank you, Ray, and thank you for giving me this opportunity, and it was nice talking to you.